write books. And in reply, you had said that, do you ever ask a chef if he still cooks?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm guessing you're still writing. So I'm going to take this opportunity to again perhaps encroach on your privacy and ask you, sir, what are you writing right now?
Yeah, I'm writing a memoir of sorts and going back to childhood again. But this one is more about my parents. And then I've done a new Rusty book. In fact, just finished it. It's called Rusty in the Magic Mountain, where there's some of it is realistic, some is fantasy, some of it is humorous. Then I'm always writing the odd essay or ghost story, as you say. And I keep my journal, and the diary or journal will give me something new to write about. So I try to actually keep 2 or 3 things going at one time. So if you get a bit bored with one, you turn to the other. Yeah? And of course, as you say, I'm a compulsive writer, so I would be writing even if I wasn't published. As when I was a boy, I wrote things which I knew weren't going to be published, so I would do the same now. So it's part of living, expressing myself, it's like talking to yourself. They say people who talk a lot to themselves are a bit touched in the head. So I don't talk to myself, I write to myself and write for myself. And that keeps me sane, actually. And you'll find writing will help to keep you sane.
We have to ask you this. Do you still wait for the post every day?
Well, he comes whether I wait for him or not, the postman. I have a regular postman and 2 courier boys. Although, as publishers now are inclined to send their royalties through banks or telegraphic transfers, but still I get a lot of things in the post. I get a lot of letters from young people, boys and girls who are at school or who finish school. Some of them want to write, some of them want to just talk to me about themselves. And it's not always possible to reply to all of them, but it's nice to get their letters, and sometimes I get lovely letters.
So then the art of letter writing hasn't died out at all?
No, I get terrific letters, and from young people, not old people, more from young people. When they get a chance to write, they will, and they write about themselves.
I think we've monopolized you enough. We want to throw it open to the audience. I'm sure the children will have a lot of questions to ask.
Yes.
So could we take questions from the children in the audience now?
Sure. Yes, come.
Just a second, she'll give you the mic.
I'll give her a mic.
Sir, Mrs. Kaur says that you said that you would talk to us a little before we took questions. So,
who would talk?
You would. You told Mrs. Kaur about the film experience, Saath Khoon Maaf.
Oh, for that I need a gulp of water first. Oh, this film, Saath Khoon Maaf, which was based on a story of mine, Susanna's 7 Husbands. Well, the director, Vishal Bhardwaj, was a very nice man and a friend of mine. He said, Ruskin, would you like to do a small guest role in the film, as the padri or priest? And I said, no, I'm not interested. I don't want to be in a film. He said, in this just a role, all you have to do is give Priyanka Chopra a fatherly kiss on the cheek. So I said, in that case, maybe I'll take the role. So there I was in this cafe in Pondicherry where they were making the film, and we were sitting at the bar, and I had to give her a few words of advice and then give her a fatherly peck on the cheek, which I did so clumsily that I knocked her glasses off, She was wearing glasses in this role. So she was very sporting about it, very nice person. So the director said, do it again, another take. So I tried again. It was a little better, But the director wasn't satisfied. No, he said, another take, Mr. Bond. So after 7 takes and 7 kisses, the director said, you're doing this deliberately, Mr. Bond. Then we ended it there. But nobody's offered me another role after that.
But it matched with the number, considering 7 husbands, Sat
Yes,
Khun Maaf, you did 7
right,
takes.
7 kisses, no more.
Yes, now we're ready to take questions from the audience.
Yeah.
Yes, please. Please introduce yourself and then ask.
Where are you? Ah, there you are.
My name is Audrija, and I want to know what are your hobbies?
Hobbies, well, still reading is a major hobby. And I used to do a lot of hiking and trekking at one time, but now that's difficult. What else in the hobbies? I follow sports, football, cricket. I used to play once. And work takes up so much time. So there's no particular hobby now. I don't, collect things or things like that. So if your life is full of activity or or creative work, you won't want a hobby actually. A hobby can be a distraction.
Thank you.
There are lots of hands going up. Could we take one from this side?
Yes?
Good morning, Mr. Bond. I'm Suhasini.
Yes.
I study in class 9. 2 of my personal favorite books are Delhi is Not Far and Friends in Small Places. So the village which comes up in both of them is People Nagar, and 2 of my favorite characters in Friends in Small Places is Uncle Ken and Uncle Bill. So my question to you is that do they really exist? And it must be really lucky for you to be surrounded with such great people. So I would love to know more about them.
Well, Uncle Ken did exist, and he was an eccentric character who was always getting into trouble and getting me into trouble too. And I wrote 1 or 2 stories about him. And since those stories became popular and readers like you wanted more, but then I had to start making up stories, because you can't have the same person having so many fantastic things happening to him. So I started in writing about him, making up stories. So the character is true, real, but some of the incidents and exploits are pure fiction. And as far as the other uncle goes, Uncle Bill, he was fictitious, the one who tried to poison me. So none of my uncles tried to poison me. Or they might have wanted to, but I don't think they made the effort.
And People Nagar, the village you talked about in Delhi is Not Far.
Who in Delhi not far?
People Nagar, the village, which is...
Yeah, People Nagar was the name I made up for. It could represent any small town in North India, some wayside town, not a very modern place.
We'll take the next one. Please come up.
Good morning, Mr. Bond. My name is Neeti Chaudhary. I'm a student of class 11. I don't want to intrude, but have you ever introduced yourself as the names Bond, Ruskin Bond? Like,
people often ask me about this other uncle of mine, James Bond. And I did have an uncle by that name, but he was a dentist. He wasn't a secret agent. He was a dentist, and he died many years back, and I wrote an epitaph for him, which goes, Stranger, approach this spot with gravity. James Bond is filling his last cavity.
Yes, the next
much-
person, please.
So much for my dentist uncle.
Good morning, sir. I'm Ishika from Loreto, Boboza. I would like to ask you this, that who was your inspiration? We all have inspirations, so there must have been someone who was your inspiration.
In two kinds of inspiration. One, other writers, because when I was a boy and fond of books and reading, obviously I wanted to emulate my own favorite writers. Not write like them, but become in a way like them. So other books, writers were inspiration. And then later, as I became a writer, and then I needed something to write about, then it had to be people, because you can't have stories without people.
Thank you, sir.
I am Yashasvi Kapoor from Shishi Academy. Sir, how do you keep calm if you are frustrated and not satisfied with what you write?
What was the first part of the question?
He says, how do you keep calm when you are frustrated with what you're writing and you're not happy about it?
No, it's a very interesting question. Actually, I don't keep calm. I get angry with myself and tear my hair. Then I go down, there's a little cafe down the road, and I'll eat half a dozen momos and come back and start working again. So if you're frustrated and work isn't going well, eat something. Do something different.
Thank you, sir.
The next person, please. Come quickly. Come.
They're from different places, some of them?
Yes, we have 5, 6
Absolutely, yeah.
Good morning, I'm Rokia and I'm from Our Lady Queen of the Mission School, and I'm very afraid that I have to take up a lot of your time because I'm representing questions from 3.
It's all those girls waiting.
Yes, they couldn't get a chance, so they actually imposed all of their questions on me. So I'm going to start off with, in the blue umbrella, you have Kishan and Binia. How did their friendship affect yours? Did you have a similar kind of a relationship with another person?
In which story?
The blue umbrella.
The blue umbrella.
Kishan and Binia.
No, there's no Kishan, is there, in the blue umbrella?
I'm so sorry. I might have gotten muddled up.
No. Binya is, of course, the heroine, and she has a brother, Biju, and then there's Ram Bharosa, the shopkeeper.
Yes, I'm thinking it's about Ram Bharosa and Binia, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Ram Bharosa is the shopkeeper who envied and wanted her umbrella.
Yes, so did you have a similar relationship with some kind of...
No, the blue umbrella is a fictitious story, although the girl Binya was based on a little girl who used to live down the road from me, and I wrote this. One day I saw her coming up the road with this very pretty umbrella, and it set me off, and I wrote the story. But the rest of it just came. So, and Ram Bharosa is nobody in particular.
And sir, I want to ask a personal question. Who were your favorite writers who wrote fiction for children?
Well, let's see. The stories I read a lot the first stories I read as a boy would have been, well, nursery rhymes to begin with. I still remember them. There was a little girl who had a little curl right down the middle of her forehead. And when she was good, she was very, very good. But when she was bad, she was horrid.
Thank you, sir.
And then lots of writers.
Good morning, Mr. Bond. I'm Tithi Srimani from Loreto Day School, Bobaza. So you've been a prolific writer and you've written many books and it has inspired a million and even more. So what would be your message for young budding readers and writers of this young age?
Well, quite simple. Keep reading. The more you read, the better you'll write. And the more you write, the better you'll read. So they both go together, reading and writing.
So thank you. That would be really a good help for us.
Thank you.
So I've just written a self-composed poem about you. So
Yes.
I'd be really pleased if I could give it to you.
Please, please.
Thank you. I'll bring it.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
I'm Jinendra Bothra. My question is that you have said that you continue your dreams, and I like to write a lot. So I would like you to tell me how to continue your dreams so that we can write more nicely.
Ajit, I didn't get part of the question, did you? Like you? Yes. Oh. Well, very good, and why shouldn't you? If you enjoy writing, continue with it. And as I was saying to the girl before, the more you write, the better you'll write. So cultivate your style, keep practicing, write something every day, and but don't be impatient. Don't rush into print. Give yourself time. And you can be anything you want to be.
Thank you, sir.
I know that we have had to turn away many children because there'll be questions and I think an endless stream. But we also have to keep to the time because we know that Mr. Bond is on an extremely tight schedule. And considering his age, I think he's doing so well, and he's said that he's really enjoying himself, though it's a bit tiring, but we don't want to tire him out any further. So I would now invite our principal, Mrs. Mukherjee, to please give the vote of
May I
thanks.
add adults too, with the magic of your yarn, and I think I can claim, without even consulting the audience, that for many of us gathered here, this will be a red letter day in our lives. Am I right in that? I would like to thank Mrs. Malavika Banerjee and Kolom for choosing Modern High School as the venue. We truly appreciate that gesture. I'd like to thank Mrs. Nirmala Birla, Chairperson, Modern High School, for her gracious presence today and also for her guidance in everything that we do. Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to thank Mrs. Devi Kaur, Director, Modern High School, for your enthusiastic and involved support. Ma'am, because of your eye for detail, we are on our toes all the time. I'd like to thank Miss Guha and this young fan of Ruskin Bond for a marvelous anchoring of the conversation today. I would like to thank Ms. Guha again, as well as Mrs. Prasad for the meticulous planning that has ensured success of this morning. And last, but certainly not the least, thank you, audience, for being such a good one, such an involved one. And thank you for telling us, we the adults in your lives, I'm talking to the students, that reading is not a lost art. Thank you for that assurance. Thank you all for being here. Have a lovely day.
Thank you, dear.